Motor, J Motor, J Motor, J Motor, recognize Heckler House, Heckler House. Oh, 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 oh.
What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Thomas back again with another rendition of Truth Be Told. Now, this past week, the big news that I saw going on especially over the weekend, was the whole thing with Israel and Hamas, or whatever the hell they're called, declaring war on each other. And it's really irritated me when I went on my X feed, the timeline, and then it was like all these Republican politicians were all like, we need to help Israel and blah 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 blah, save Israel, and I'm just like, fuck off. That shit has nothing to do with us. These motherfucking politicians, listen to these lobbyists, tell them what to do, and then they fucking, the same thing with the Ukraine situation for the Democrats. The lobbyists tell them what to fucking fund for the war so they can make money off of it and profit off the death of people from the other side of the world. And it's just like, what the fuck, man? If you want to fight for that shit, take your ass the fuck over there and go fight for it. Otherwise, do what the fucking people want. Take care of Americans first. Do your fucking jobs. I'm so sick of politicians. Crooked ass motherfuckers. All of them. Every one of them. Can't stand any of them. Because they always do what the lobbyists want. Because the lobbyists pay them money to fucking do what they want instead of what the people want. And it's bullshit. But yeah, that's the big news I saw, was the whole Israel situation. War sucks. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to see people dying and shit. But at the same time, it's their fucking mess. We are not the world police. Fuck off with that shit. Anybody who thinks that shit can go fuck themselves. I don't care. It's bullshit. We are not your fucking police. It's your country. Have your country fucking deal with your own mess. That is your mess, not ours. Our government needs to stay the fuck out of it. And let them fucking countries fight it amongst themselves. I'm so sick of every time there's a war, all of a sudden we got, our government thinks we need to be in the middle of it. It's the lobbyists. They make money off that shit. And it's bullshit. If it don't concern us or has something to do with us, stay the fuck out of it. Alright. That's my 2 cents on the whole Israel situation. Moving the fuck on. So, what I really want to talk to you about this week, and I know you've probably seen other YouTubers review this shit. Everybody seems to have, opinions, or a penny a dozen. It's just, everyone has their own fucking opinion about shit. But I wanted to go over with you. I finished watching that damn the fucking Disney Star Wars Ahsoka. Oh my gosh. Worst one yet that they've done. Worst by far show they've done for the Star Wars shit. Even George has come out and said Disney Star Wars is not canon Star Wars. Anything that Disney does is not canon. It's not Star Wars. It's Disney woke garbage Star Wars. Completely different. I don't care who you are, if you like fucking Disney or not. It's not canon Star Wars. None of it is. Anyways, through the whole season, well, let me backtrack a little bit before I get into the story of what was going on. Because most people won't even know what the fuck the story's about. They have no clue who these characters are. So this all started, you know, right after Disney took over for, you know, Star Wars. They started a cartoon. Now, don't get this cartoon confused with the cartoon just before it. They did a Clone Wars cartoon before Disney started doing their own version of the Clone Wars cartoon. Now, Disney's version had Dave Filoni writing for it. And he made up a character known as Ahsoka. And she is supposed to be the apprentice or Padawan to Anakin Skywalker before he turns to Vader. Before he joins the Sith, she is his Padawan. The Clone Wars, you know, he trains her to be a survivor, a fighter against, you know, the army, because the Jedi pretty much became like generals. She didn't care for that. She was always taught that the Jedi were peace officers. You know, they go around the galaxy, you know, policing shit, blah blah blah. Anyways, like I said, don't get the Clone Wars, Disney Clone Wars, confused with the original Clone Wars cartoons. Now, Ahsoka does not become a Jedi. She leaves before taking the trial and becoming a Jedi, blah blah blah. She leaves before that. Like I said, she didn't like the way things were going. She thought the Jedi were being manipulative with Anakin. And then you later on, when you watch the movie, you know, Revenge of the Sith, you know, that's the way Anakin feels. He feels he's being manipulated by the Jedi. And that's what helps him turn to the dark side. But nowhere in the movies is Ahsoka mentioned whatsoever. Like I said, completely different. Disney Star Wars is completely different. They make up fucking characters all the time that has nothing to do with the canon Star Wars. Anyways, after the Clone Wars, there was a time where they kind of left off the Clone Wars for like a year or two, I think. I can't remember. I'm not going to do the whole looking up exact dates. Anyways, during this time, Dave Filoni changed to doing a cartoon called Rebels. Star Wars Rebels for Disney. In this one, you have the main character, which is Ezra, which is a force wielder, a boy, a young boy, and there's a Jedi who apparently didn't get killed as, you know, one of the younglings, and he starts training Ezra to be a Jedi. Ezra's kind of a, I don't know, he's kind of a dork, you know. He's all the time getting into trouble and shit, you know. And this Jedi Jared Singh or something like that. I can't remember what his name is. He takes him on as a Padawan and starts training him. Now there's another character named Hera who's like this great pilot who is, you know, kind of in a relationship with Jared Singh, which the Jedi are not supposed to be in relationships. They're not supposed to be. You see that in the movies. But anyways, she and him, they have a child together or whatever, blah, 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 who later on becomes also force sensitive. But he has no one to train him. Well, he does, but she won't do it because he's a boy. But anyways, whatever. Ezra, and there's a few other characters in there too. You know, you got the girl who's like an outcast of Mandalorian, and she's a Mandalorian, and she her name's Sabine Wren, and she's super feminist, just cringe-worthy. One of the worst characters ever that they ever created. Anyways, and then there's some purple beast-looking dude. I can't remember what his name was. But anyways, there's a few other characters in the cartoon. At the end of the cartoon, Ezra does something that causes they're getting ready to fight Admiral Thrawn when he was young. This all happened years ago, right after Luke and them start fighting the Empire. But he does something on Thrawn's ship. I can't remember. It's been a while since I watched the cartoon. And it sends him and Thrawn, Admiral Thrawn, to a different galaxy. And they become lost. Okay? Now, Ahsoka, she shows up a couple of times. The live adaptation version shows up a couple of times on the Boba Fett show and the Mandalorian, which was supposed to be the Boba Fett show, but whatever. Anyways, she does show up a couple of times in a couple of episodes or whatever. And then later on, now she has her own show, Ahsoka, which is Dave Filoni's character. All his characters are like becoming live adaptation in this show. You know, he's having a wet dream. He's basically pussy, feminist, bitch boy to Kennedy, wannabe George Lucas is what he is. The guy's terrible. And he copies and is lazy with his writing and shit. He's just terrible. Terrible guy. Anyways. Ahsoka starts off, it's been years since Ezra has disappeared. Of course, the Empire's been defeated, blah, blah, blah. You have the new, the rebels have taken over, yada, yada, yada. Come to find out, there's one woman who used to be part of the Empire. She's part of the Dathia Queen, or witches, whatever the fuck they're called. And she's kind of leading a group to go get Thrawn and return him so he can restart the Empire. She grabs the assistance of a couple of mercenaries, which are Force wielders. One of them used to be a youngling at the Jedi Academy, and apparently he didn't get killed, and now he's got his own little Padawan or apprentice. He is one of two, well, three actually, if you count Thrawn. He's not in it for very long. Him, Ezra, and Thrawn are the only male characters. Everybody else, for the most part, except for maybe you get a scene with a senator or something, that's a male. The vast majority of all the main characters are female. You know, we gotta have that whamming feminist crap. It's so cringe. When Ezra and her meet, Sabine meet, Sabine's been like wanting to find him. They find Morgan, who's the witch. They find her little ship, and they make it across to the other galaxy. Sabine goes with them. And then fucking Ahsoka uses some damn whales, space whales. Like, okay, whatever. And they could travel great distances across the galaxy to other galaxies. Okay, whatever. So dumb. Anyways, she follows her to this other galaxy where Thrawn has been at. Sabine finds fucking Ezra, and it's like the most awkward reunion ever. They see a little group of people that Ezra's been, and little creatures that Ezra's been, snail people that Ezra's been hanging out with. He's ready to go home. He'd rather use the Force than wield a lightsaber, but he eventually does, makes himself a new lightsaber. Sabine, who is not a Force wielder, all of a sudden she can use the Force for whatever reason. You know, she had been the apprentice or Padawan for Ahsoka, which made absolutely no sense whatsoever. She takes a hit with a lightsaber in her chest, like right next to her heart, but she survives, you know, but nobody else does, just her. What the fuck ever, you know. Worst character ever in the Star Wars universe, or Disney Star Wars universe. Ugh. I can't stand Sabine Wren. God awful character. Anyways, Ahsoka has to cross her arms 500 fucking times in every damn episode. Like she's thinking of what to say next. She'll literally stand there with her arms crossed looking at one of the other characters before she speaks. She'll wait for like 2 minutes before she says something. It's dumb. Anyways, her and Morgan have the worst fucking fight scene ever because it's literally a copy of another fight scene from another movie. Ezra gets to go home. Sabine and Ahsoka end up staying on the planet from the other galaxy. Somehow Ezra finds his way to the rebels, who now have ships out in the middle of nowhere. How he could find them, you know, somehow he came back on Thrawn's ship, and then somehow escapes and finds his way. And then when he meets up with fucking Hera, you know, it was like he did the whole bro thing where they nod and he was up. That's pretty much what they did. And it's not exactly, but it's you get the picture. They don't, you know, I haven't seen each other in years. She's like a mother to him, and then fucking, you know, they just was up. You know, that's hey, that's it. It was the cringiest fucking awkward, another awkward, you know, after years meeting, you know, they didn't hug it out or anything. Anyways, the show is absolutely abomination. It's terrible. I do not recommend the Ahsoka show. It is absolutely garbage. Straight garbage. Definitely 2 thumbs down. You know, Disney Star Wars is just so bad. I mean, next, this is the worst one next to Rogue One. Rogue One was an absolutely complete shithole. Garbage of a film. There's people that simp for that movie, and I don't know why, because it sucked. It was horrible. Then you had, I'm not even going to get started on the Star Wars Disney trilogy. Everybody knows they were bad. And then you had The Mandalorian, which at first it started off okay. But by the time you got to the last season, dude, they try to introduce that little Yoda Dooku character, try to get everybody involved. And then, instead of training as a Jedi with Luke Skywalker, which he should have been doing, he goes off with the Mandalorian to train to be a Mandalorian, which is just dumber than shit. But whatever. Then, you had the Boba Fett show, which is what the Mandalorian was supposed to be. But even the actor for the Boba Fett show came out and said Disney pretty much cut off his balls and made him some really nice guy, which Boba Fett is not nice. He's a dick. And they made him into a nice guy. It made no sense. Like I said, the actor, I can't think of his name, he said the same thing. That's not how it's supposed to be played. But whatever. Then you move on to Andor, which an absolute character I cannot stand. The concept of, following a rebel spy is actually kind of cool. The concept, not the show. The actor who plays Andor, he's terrible. It was a terrible show. It took almost the last 2 episodes for anything interesting to really happen. The whole prison break thing was the only good thing about the entire show. The rest of it sucked. It was boring, slow and boring. And that guy can't act worth a shit. Anyways, then you have Ahsoka. Don't watch it. It's not worth waste your time, because you don't even know what the hell's going on if you haven't watched the cartoon series. Alright, let's get on to your B-movie reviews. What's up, movie holics? This week is Horror Week. Well, actually, it's horror month. It's that time of the year again when we're doing a horror marathon. Moving on with the next 2 movies in the Nightmare on Elm Street series. The third one is called Dream Warriors. It was done in 1987. And it made about $45 million. It starred Patricia Arquette, and Lawrence Fishburne was in it as well. Of course, you had Robert Englund, and then John Saxon and Heather Langenkamp comes back. Now, this is her debut movie for Patricia Arquette, and she got really popular right after she did this movie. So I noticed the pattern when I'm checking out these movies, the box office numbers, they just always make more and more. Every time they do one, they make more money. Now the story goes in this one that Freddy comes back for revenge, basically against the last of the Elm Street children. There's just a few left. They're all having nightmares, supposedly. They're in this mental hospital. And there's this doctor who don't know what to do because they keep dying. Nancy shows up to help out, but she's really not a real therapist. She's kind of like a counselor kind of thing. But she tells them that she knows what they're dealing with, and that what's going on, who Freddy is, and why he's after him. In the dreams, they each have their own little power or whatever that they can do. Patricia Arquette, the main girl, she has the power to bring others into her dreams. So she's like the main one of the group. Towards the end, the doctor and Nancy's father, they go to get Freddy's bones and, do the Lord's Prayer and throw some holy water and consecrate him and bury him to get rid of him. While they're doing that, Nancy and the kids are in the dream world trying to fight Freddy. The only ones who make it out is Joey, Kincaid, and Kristen, which is Patricia Arquette's character. They make it out. Nancy dies in the dream. Freddy finally kills her. John Saxon, her dad, he too gets killed in the real world. But they win in the end. The doctor helps. He does the whole ritual on the bones and helps kill Freddy. Supposedly. So, that's the end of the movie. This is probably my favorite out of the entire Nightmare series. This is my favorite one. It's the best one. Yeah, it's a little cheesy with some of the special effects, but we're talking 80s here. It's still a really good movie. Wes Craven did help with the writing in this. However, he is not the one who directed it. It was a different director. I give it 2 thumbs up. This is the best one out of the series. Check it out. Really good movie. Moving on to Nightmare on Elm Street 4, which is called The Dream Master. It was done in 1988, and it made about $50 million. So again, the money just keeps getting higher and higher every time they make one of these films. Now, Patricia Arquette, there were some rumors that she was pregnant, so she didn't revise her role as Kristen. But the real reason is she got so popular, she wanted to do more drama type movies, and she was asking for way more money than what it was worth. So they went and found somebody else. So Tuesday Night is the one who took over for the role Kristen. And then your main character, female, was Lisa Wilcox. She's the one who plays Alice. Now, at the beginning, Kristen's having nightmares again, but she doesn't see Freddy. And she pulls Joey and Kincaid into her dream, and they try to explain to her, hey, he's dead, he's gone, we won, blah blah blah. The boiler's cold, from Freddy's home or whatever. Anyways, she doesn't believe him, and she kind of gives Freddy the energy to come back. Which he does. He shows back up, and he kills, instead of going after Kristen, he goes after Joey and Kincaid first and kills them off, because he knows Kristen has the power to pull them into her dream. So he takes them out individually first. Then, instead of killing Kristen right off the bat, he gets her to pull somebody new into the dream, because he's killed all the Elm Street kids, so he needs new souls to consume. So he gets Kristen to pull in Alice, and then Kristen gives Alice her power, but Freddy gets her soul. So Alice now has the power of Kristen, and she can pull people into her dreams. So Freddy uses her to pull her friends into her dream so he can kill them off one by one. And he does. Each time he does it, he gets the soul, but she gets their power. Now, apparently they put a new spin on it, the main story. Now there is a dream master, one who guards the gate of light in the dream world, and one that guards the gate of death or darkness in the dream world. Freddy guards the dark gate, and she guards the light gate. Towards the end, there's only one friend left. Happens to be her boyfriend, or the guy who eventually becomes her boyfriend. Her and Freddy have it out. She has all the powers of her friends. She ends up remembering some kind of nursery school rhyme when she was a kid, which is similar to the rhyme that you hear from the little girls that's doing the 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. Hers is a little bit different. Hers is now I lay down to sleep and pray the Lord the soul to take, blah blah blah, that kind of thing. But they changed it a little bit to fit the movie or whatever. Supposedly, if evil looks into a mirror and sees itself, it kills itself or some shit, destroys itself. And she does that. She holds up like this glass with a mirror image on it, and Freddy sees himself, and then she helps release the souls in him, and basically he's supposed to be gone now and disappears. And that's pretty much the end of the movie. Well, at the very end, Dan and her are standing, her boyfriend, they're standing over a wishing well. He flips a coin. He says, make a wish. And she sees Freddy in the water for a minute. And that's it. And that's the end of the movie. Now, I forgot to mention, in the third one, you do find out the story about Freddy's mother, how she was raped by 1,000 maniacs because she got locked up in this tower for an asylum, and there was tons of you know, people with mental problems in there. And you know, they did the whole great thing to her, and that's how Freddy was born. He's born from like 1,000 maniacs or some crap like that. But anyways, that's the end of Nightmare 4, The Dream Master. We still got a few more to go. We should make it to the end of the month. We'll see. This one was, even though it didn't have any major stars in it except for Robert Englund, of course. Yeah, it was decent. It was pretty good. Wasn't that bad. A couple of cheesy things in there. The whole, you know, the black girl with the nerdy robotic hand coming at her was kind of cheesy. Like, why would you rub around a bunch of blood on your paper? That was just kind of dumb, silly. That whole scene there, but whatever. 2 thumbs up. Great movie. Great part of the series. Check it out. That's all I have for you this week. If you have any thoughts about what I talked about earlier in the video, please leave your thoughts down in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear from you. If you could think of any B-rated, underrated, cult classic, maybe movies you think I'm never even have heard of, please leave your suggestions down in the comment section down below, and I'll get to reviewing them as soon as I can. So until next time, I told you you'd be told the truth, and you just been told.